Danielle and I actually spoke about this on our podcast interview that we did, talking about Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot. This idea of like, we can change our state of being in a state of pain and anguish and disease, or we can do it in a state of bliss and joy and happiness. And I think about actually somebody who I don't know very well, but is a friend through Facebook and mutual contacts and whatnot. And she just said out loud a couple of days ago that she got diagnosed with breast cancer. But she did it with a post that said, and I'm embracing this and I'm leaning in and I'm doing this, this, and this proactively as a means to not accept this, but to just embrace it for what it is and realize that like, this is a part of my journey. And I can either be in despair and feel like it's defeated me already, or feel like I've already defeated it. And just that mindset, will it actually,
man?
Yeah. Will it allow her to live for 50 more years or will she pass in 6 months? Who knows? But regardless, how do you choose to show up?
Exactly, man. Exactly. And hey, I personally believe that a positive attitude will help your cells fight the cancer better. That's my belief. It may be true, it may not be true. But if it's not true and you have 6 months, do you want to spend 6 months in emotional pain or in emotional happiness? Like, there is no downside to embracing at all. Never. Because it doesn't mean that you stop taking action, right? And actually, this kind of reconnected with the idea that I wanted to share. Because you were mentioning the fine balance between being okay with where you are and wanting more, right? And for me, it's the balance between having a vision that excites you in the different areas of your life, but also loving where you're at. My wife makes fun of me because I play a lot of FIFA. It's a video game about football. And I finally reached the elite division. And the joy lasted like 2 days. And I'm like, I want to get to the top 10% of the elite division,
Yeah, of course, of course.
And that's life. But the idea, and like, hey, man, like I have this business and we're making this much money per month. I want 10 times that. And when I get there, I'm going to want 10 times that. And that's human nature. But again, I embrace it. I'm always going to want more. But I am enjoying the path towards taking more. I am not saying, oh, I'm going to be happy. Get when? But I'm being happy while. And that in your head, it changes everything too.
And I'll say it out loud and you can respond however you feel as well. But like that state of mind is literally the only thing that I want my kids to ultimately embrace, is that idea that whatever path you go down and whatever you choose to pursue, that you just enjoy the journey and every single step of it. And the conscious parenting and the education of kids, I know you and I will be talking about this and collaborating on all kinds of stuff as it relates to that, because we've had these conversations of like, how do you educate your kids in today's world? Who should be educating your kids? How do you create community around that as well? So it's not just this isolated, like in a book trying to intellectually learn, but actually you're learning through experiences. How does my state of being and the way that I show up impact that education process? How can I look at my own life vision and maybe see where it's shifted now to where, I don't anticipate not being an entrepreneur anytime soon. Like I still love what I do, but do I envision a future in 5, 10, 15 years where I don't actually work and all I do is just kind of hang out with my boys and go surfing? And like, these are what I'm curiously contemplating right now. And then naturally it takes you down these paths of like, all right, what already exists? And then you hit walls and you're like, oh, nothing that I'm really looking for, And that's the seeker, right? That wants to constantly elevate up. They want to get to the top 10% of the elite FIFA players, But I think anybody listening to this, and you and I obviously align a lot on that, but I feel like somebody's going to hear this too and go, me too. That's what I feel too. And other people might just be like, what the hell are you guys talking about, man? Like, I got a job and I'm happy and I make some money and we go to the lake on the weekend. And that's cool too, as long as you're happy.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Yeah.
That's not how I'm wired.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that's also super important, right? Like, hey, man, if it works for you, that's fantastic. Just make sure that it does work for you and you're not fooling yourself. Like, just make sure that it is what you really want. Because if you say, oh, yeah, like, no, I'm happy, but then deep inside you're like, no, I want more, but I'm afraid of that. You need to be super conscious of what's going on deep inside you. And that happens both ways, because society right now forces you to be entrepreneurial. And then it forces women to go out there and have a job. And those are great as possibilities. But my wife is a stay-at-home mom. And she went through this phase where like, oh, my aunt is telling me to have a career. My mom is, but I don't want to have a career. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, hey, that's fine too. If that's like your truth, if that what truly makes you happy, then be a stay-at-home mom. You don't need to go out there and hustle. You can live your truth. And the same with entrepreneur, right? If you are being forced to be an entrepreneur because of society and you watch these videos and everybody's telling you, but that's not you, don't do that. But if you want to tell yourself that you're happy, but you're not, then also go out there and find. But it's what resonates deeply, truly with you.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed that clip and you want to watch the full unedited episode, go ahead and click over here. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. It really does mean a lot to me. Thanks so much.